Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. We're continuing on with our 10 commandments, and today's commandment is brought to you by the number 8, as in the 8th commandment, you shall not steal. Now what is stealing? Stealing is taking something that doesn't belong to you. If you didn't pay for it, and you don't have permission to have it, and it belongs to someone else and you take it, you have stolen. It seems so simple, but that's exactly what stealing is, taking what doesn't belong to you. Now, what are some of the things that we steal? Well, before I get into that, I want you to understand that it doesn't matter what you steal, it doesn't matter how big it is, it doesn't matter whether you think it's significant or not. Stealing is stealing. Now, we think immediately of material things. Things like cars and jewelry and TVs and phones and for grade schoolers, people's erasers, lunches, pencils. See, it doesn't matter how small it is. If you've taken it, you've stolen it. And the material possessions are the most common things that people steal. Now let me ask you, what is the difference between stealing a penny and $1 million? In God's mind, there is no difference. The value doesn't matter. In God's eyes, if you've stolen, you have stolen. And it doesn't matter what it is. Something else that we steal, maybe you don't think about this, but we steal time. This is mostly in the realm of the place where we work. We steal time by coming in late, by leaving early. I mean willfully. I don't mean something happened where you can't be there on time, or something happens and you have to leave early. Taking longer breaks than we're supposed to. Willfully going out of our way to, I don't need to be there at this time, or I don't need to be here the whole time. If you are getting paid for an entire 8 hours and you don't work an entire 8 hours, you are stealing time from your employer. This includes time socializing with co-workers on the clock for maybe a little longer than you should, and checking social media and texting instead of working. Whenever you do that, you are stealing time from your employer. You can also steal time from your family and from God. It's time that you should be spending with them, but you're not. You're spending it on yourself. You're stealing time from them. Time with family and God is very important. We can also steal ideas. This usually happens in the realm of entertainment. If you go to YouTube and you type in rip-off songs, you'll find a lot of songs that sound a lot like another song. In some cases, an artist stole actual music from another artist. Getting into who's who and what's what, or your opinions about it. Sometimes an idea is literally taken and used and claimed as your own. People do it all the time. You hear an idea in passing or in a meeting, and you say, that's a good idea. You bring it up to the right people, and you say, well, it was all my idea. And you don't give any credit or acclaim to the person who actually thought of it. You are stealing the idea. And that also is theft. But we can also steal from God. I already talked about time, but there are other ways we can steal from God. We steal from God by not giving God what He asks. Now, I'm not getting into the tithing versus giving what's on your heart debate, but I am talking about whatever God asks of you, whatever He requires. If He lays an amount on your heart, or whether it is 10%, either way, however you feel about it, if you're not giving it to God as He asks of you, you are stealing it from Him. If you want more information on that, you can read Malachi chapter 3, where God talks to the people of Israel about those things. And I'll give you a little more detail than I can give right now. I say, well, some of you may think, I'm being pretty rigid about this. I'm giving very, very narrow guidelines to theft. And maybe I am. But let me ask you this. If it was your thing, or your idea, or you're the employer and your employees are not giving the time they're supposed to, or think about if you're God and you're asking something of someone and that person doesn't give it, think about how you would feel. We would feel disrespected, we would feel slighted, we would feel very unhappy with the people who are stealing these things from us. So, as the Golden Rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you don't want to participate in theft, give people what they're due. Don't take what's not yours. Also, very simple, but very hard to do, as we all know, because each one of us has stolen in some way. and we can't get around that. But we have to pay attention to what we do and how we do it and why. And we go out of our way to make sure we're not stealing in a way, that we think about it, and that we're not doing it on purpose. Accident's an accident, but if we're stealing on purpose, we certainly need to not do that, because God says so. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time with the 7th commandment.